Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. It's going to be a quick video. I wasn't planning on doing one. It's about 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and I actually, about 10 minutes ago, found out that Rick Davies of Supertramp passed away, unfortunately at the age of 81 from a long battle with cancer. He finally succumbed to the illness. Another really sad loss in rock and roll. A little bit with Supertramp. I consider myself kind of a moderate fan of the band, but I do really like them and I really appreciate them. They had a really interesting sound, a unique sound. Supertramp sounds like Supertramp, and yeah, they were progressive, but not anything like the Moody Blues. But kind of reminds me of I don't think of the Moody Blues necessarily as a progressive band. It's just kind of like the Moody Blues. And Supertramp is kind of the same way. Not that they sound like the Moody Blues. But yeah, Supertramp certainly started out around 1970 as a progressive band. But they're not a pop band. They're not really a hard rock band. They're Supertramp. And they just have a really cool sound. And I always really like them. They started around 1970. And I think it was around 82, 83... the split happened with Roger Hodgson and Rick Davies, the sad split. They're the two main songwriters, the two leaders, so to speak, and that was really the end of their big success. They were so good together, but separately, like a lot of bands, when the two main creative guys split, it just never really recovers. How did I discover Supertramp? I have 5 Supertramp albums, and the point of my video also, besides a dedication to Rick Davies, is maybe you want to get into Supertramp, but you don't feel like you want to get into them too much. This might be a good idea. I have 5 Supertramp albums, including a double greatest hits and a live one. So I'm really happy with the collection that I have, and you might be really happy to follow along. I first heard Supertramp really in 1974. At the age of 11, you couldn't miss Bloody Well Right on the radio, and nothing sounded like that. And it was such a great track, and I loved it. Of course, that was from Crime of the Century, which is an amazing album. But I didn't get this album until later. I got this album actually after Breakfast in America, which was, what was it, around 81, I think that was. I'm looking at my database here. 79, actually, was Breakfast in America. That was the first Supertramp album I bought kind of when it came out. The next album that I have in their chronology was Even in the Quietest Moments, which came out actually in 77. I didn't get this album until after Breakfast in America as well. But probably my favorite Supertramp song, or one of them, is Give a Little Bit, the first song on the album. And that was another song that always got played on the radio, and it just puts a smile on your face. You just love to hear it, and it's classic. It's one of those songs that I will never tire of hearing. Give a Little Bit. You can put it on any time, at any place, and it's just going to sound so great. And that was from Even in the Quietest Moments, which came out in 77. And then the really big one here in America came out in 79. That was Breakfast in America. And that actually hit, what did Breakfast... So those 2 albums I just mentioned, they weren't huge hits. But Breakfast in America hit #1 in America. You couldn't get away from this album. And of course, you had all these big hits, especially the Logical song, which again was a really fun song. But Goodbye Stranger was amazing. And Breakfast in America, the title track. Take the Long Way Home is incredible. I mean, this is just one of those great albums, and really cool cover, as is all of their album covers. Look at that one. And that was my first album in 79. Then they put out the double live one called Paris, and if you know my channel, I'm a big fan of live albums, and I picked this up. This is the album that caused me to go back in time and then pick up Crime of the Century and Even in the Quietest Moments. Paris is a really good live record, and turned me on to things that I missed initially, especially like Hide in Your Shell and From Now On. Just unbelievable. You started laughing. These were like incredible tracks, definitely kind of progressive, and they just sounded so great. Plus you get the popular, like the Logical song, and Bloody Well Right is great. Dreamer was a big hit, and Asylum, Take the Long Way Home, Fool's Overture, Two of Us, and Crime of the Century's incredible. This is a really good double live record from Supertramp. And then to top it all off, I have Retrospective, the Supertramp Anthology, which really is an excellent 2 CD compilation of a lot of their best stuff, including early stuff that I never had before, and even latter day stuff that came after the split. That's pretty good as well. This is a good way to go. If you want to get into Supertramp, you know, definitely you need Crime of the Century, because that is an incredible album right there. And even in the quietest moments, these are remastered. They sound great. And another terrific album, and a great album. And then, you know, of course, Breakfast in America, which is, at this point, probably my least listened to Supertramp album out of these. I don't really listen to that too much. Paris, so like I said, a really good double live CD. And then the 2 CD excellent compilation where you just get a great overview of their whole career from the earlier prog years to, you know, the latter day stuff where they split, Roger Hobson and Rick Davies. So another really sad loss here in the rock and roll world. Unfortunately, we're at that age, and I imagine it's going to keep happening. But again, Rick Davies, vocalist, keyboardist, co-writer of Supertramp, passed away at the age of 81 after a long bout with cancer. Another sad loss. Let's celebrate the music that they left behind from a really unique band. And that's part of what makes rock and roll music so great. You know, everybody likes to pigeonhole everything, and this band is this, and this band is this. Supertramp is Supertramp. I don't really know what the hell they are beyond Supertramp. Progressive, sure. Pop, popular, yep, definitely. Rockin', they could rock as well. Just a really, really good band. Hope you enjoy them. And another sad loss. Let's put our head down and remember the great Rick Davies and the music that Supertramp in their heyday left behind. As always, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you're new to my channel, you could subscribe, which would be cool. Check out the playlists. And most importantly, investigate the great music that's out there. Hopefully, it'll never be forgotten. And if you're new to this music, this is a really good way to go if you want to check out Supertramp. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time.